Hey everyone, welcome to Mitch and the Kitch. Today we're talking steak accompaniments. Last week we talked about 3 different ways to make a steak. Now I want to share my favorite accompaniments, things to pour on the steak, dip it in, really just things to elevate that steak to the next level. The first one is going to be a compound butter. So compound butter is butter plus other stuff. I personally love garlic, rosemary, thyme. The reason I have both raw and roasted garlic is because roasted, as you can see, it's really dark. Those are all the sugars that are caramelized, and it's a much different garlic flavor than that like punch you in the face raw garlic. So combined, it's going to play off each other really well. But rosemary and thyme, great herbs, go really well with steak, go well with chicken. One of the keys is the butter being room temp. It's going to be really hard to mix it if it's cold. All right, so as you see, we've got this whole head of roasted garlic. This is the fun part. This is where you get to play with your food, and you're just going to squirt it out just like that. And you can see, how broken down this garlic is. It's easy to squish out. I'm just going to try it. Oh man, that is so good. Next up, we have the raw garlic. I got one, decent sized one and 2 smaller ones. So to me, that makes up 2 cloves. So the easy way to do this, knife flat, use your hand, smash. You could chop it up from here. There's not too much more work to do. Your garlic is minced, it's ready to go. And this clove of garlic, I'm gonna use the microplane for. We talked about kind of that punch you in the face, raw garlic flavor. We got sweet roasted garlic in here already, and we do want that raw garlic flavor. A little bit easier and cleaner than smashing things with a knife. We have both of our garlics in the bowl. Next up, we're gonna talk about the herbs. Today we're going for 1 teaspoon of each, fresh and chopped. So thyme, you gotta get all these little leaves off the stem. You don't really wanna use that big, thick, hardy stem. Again, against the grain, pick off the top. All right, so we got these off. Now we're gonna get the chopping. And thyme, the little petals are a little smaller than the rosemary, so it's easier to get minced. Scrape it up. So that's not quite enough, so we're gonna need to chop some more. Now we're gonna do the same with rosemary. This is so fragrant. And again, with these, you don't have to get them as fine as, grains of sand or anything like that. If you do really like the flavor of rosemary or flavor of thyme, leave them whole, leave them bigger. Get these up, start dipping them over. Alrighty, time for the start of the show. The butter, we got some room temp butter. I'm going for a ½ pound. Oh yeah, nice and room temp. Another key when you're doing any of these, sauces or butters or whatever, go with a bigger bowl than you think you're gonna need. It's always good to have a little extra room to move things around, stir things. This is an ingredient and an item that gets better with age, so as it sits in the fridge, those flavors just keep marrying, keep getting pulled together and make it better and better. Let me get some salt in here and then it should be done. Okay, this is awesome. It's fantastic. Right now is put it into some plastic, kind of roll it into a tube, create your own log of butter. From there, if you want to make multiples, stick 1 or 2 in the freezer, pull it out when you need it, keep it in the fridge, use it for absolutely everything because you're gonna love it. Our next accompaniment is a horseradish cream sauce. It's really easy to make. It's 3 ingredients. So sour cream going down first. This one I'm not gonna measure, but today I'm gonna go maybe 2 parts sour cream, 1 part mayo. Again, I've made this 100% mayo, 100% sour cream. Sometimes I'll add a splash of half and half just for the heck of it, just because I'm feeling it. So mayo, what are we using today? Olive oil mayo, half the fat of regular. All right, that seems good on mayo. And then our horseradish. Man, that smells so good. I just get like shrimp cocktail vibes. You just smell that horseradish. Okay, because this is strong, we're gonna start with a little bit less than you might think you need. And again, these are 2 fatty items, so they're gonna cut through that sharpness a bit. A bit of salt. There we go. And then a couple grinds of pepper. Okay, there we are. That is delicious. It's got a little bit of heat to it. You know, if it was just me, I'd probably add a little bit more. My wife tends to like things slightly less spicy than I do. I'm gonna leave it as is. You can always add more later. This is a fantastic accompaniment. Traditionally, it goes with prime rib, but whenever eating steak, this will be great. So if you got it in the fridge, try it out. So our last accompaniment is the chimichurri. As I said, I like cilantro more than parsley. This is a funny one because my wife is not the hugest cilantro fan. I'm using 2 parts cilantro, 1 part parsley, and she absolutely loves this. I was really surprised by it because she doesn't usually love cilantro, so that shows you just how good this chimichurri is. Let's get to chopping. And this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons chopped. We are going to chop these pretty fine. It just makes a little bit more of an even, you know, spoonful of it or a dollop of it. All right, cilantro's chopped. We're going 2 tablespoons. Okay, parsley time. We're only going 1 tablespoon chopped. Pretty sure I hear one of my dogs running down the hallway upstairs. I think he really likes chimichurri too. He's smelling it. Yeah, it's a little bit better amount. There we go. Dumping it in. So I'm also gonna add some oregano in my recipe. I have fresh oregano. Here we're using dry. You know, as we talked about with rosemary and thyme, it's a lot more pungent. When it's dried out, you get a lot more of that flavor. So we're just gonna do a couple shakes of it. And this will rehydrate in the red wine vinegar and the oil. Another thing we're just gonna do a couple shakes of is cayenne. Just adding a little bit of heat to this. Nothing crazy. 1 piece of garlic. We're going raw. We're using the microplane again. For me, I tend to like it. We're not using a ton. Bang it off. There you go. Just that little bit of garlic, that's all you're gonna need. My recipe calls for shallot. As I said, I'm using some leftover red onion. The key to me is just, you know, use what you have. Try not to waste anything. You do want to match up cut sizes. And so, you know, for this, I don't want these like huge pieces of red onion when I got pretty small pieces of parsley and cilantro. You know, I think that's about what a shallot would dice up to. So I'm gonna add it. And I do like, you know, kind of that raw onion, raw shallot flavor. So again, like everything I cook, it's customizable to your taste. So now our last 2 ingredients are the wet portion. We're going red wine vinegar. We're going oil. Okay, so I got my good olive oil for my KC people. I go to Olive Tree. I get my oils, my vinegars. They got some other cool specialty salts and cool items. Really good quality. It's got a nice little pour spout, so it's easy for pouring. We're gonna go 2 tablespoons, both of oil and vinegar. So 1 tablespoon in, tablespoon 2. And then again, equal parts of vinegar. And I tend to like to do the oil first and the vinegar second because as the vinegar goes in, it's kind of gonna bring up a little bit of the oil, and so you're able to not waste quite as much. I'm gonna give this a little bit of salt, just like we gave our other guys, just to bring out all those flavors. Again, this is something that's gonna get better as it sits. Those flavors are really gonna meld together. So this initial taste test actually might not be the best way to do it. You might wanna make this an hour before you're making steak. All right, time to taste. Oh, I always forget how good that is. Man, that is good. All right, so we have our 3 steak accompaniments. Accompaniments, that's a tough word. Our 3 sauces, that's the way to say it. So typically before I get into it, you know, this guy, as I said, kind of with prime rib, or you serve it on the side. The butter, you could kind of just throw in a little bowl, serve it like that. What I love to do, steak comes off, you know, take some butter, either dollop it on top or slice it if you made the log. Let it kind of melt into the steak as the steak is resting. And then chimichurri is kind of the hybrid of the 2. You know, you can definitely spoon it on. You can wait till it's sliced, spoon it on then, put it on separate, dip it into it. There's really no wrong way to eat it. Let it run off. Huh. Wow. Man. Chimichurri is my go-to right now. Leftover rotisserie chicken, I mean, take that out, heat it up. Chimichurri, you got some veggies, chimichurri, any of these things, they're so good. I hope you realize just how easy they are to put together too. I really want you to try them. If you do, let me know. I'd love to know what your favorite is, or if you have another favorite steak side. Don't say A1, it is pretty good, I'll give it to you, but we're gonna elevate your game just a little bit. Have everyone say wow the next time you cook them steak. So give it a try, let me know how you like it, and we'll see you next time.